When it comes to homeschooling high school, there's a big learning curve, not only for the mom, but also for the students. And today I'm doing something that I rarely do, and I am featuring my daughter, Elizabeth, in a video. And she's going to share what she thinks homeschool students need to know as they enter high school. I am going to let her kind of take the reins here, and I'm going to sit, but keep watching later this week, because I'm going to do a video that goes with it and tells kind of my side of it. So I'm going to hand it over to Elizabeth, but first, if you don't know, this is Elizabeth. She just finished 9th grade today, and she's 14, and she's always homeschooled, so this was her 10th year of homeschooling on the first topic of time management. Huge topic, and probably the biggest struggle we had at the beginning of the school year. So,
first thing you should try to learn is to learn how long you can work on a subject, because at some point it becomes unproductive just because you're sitting there and staring at paper and not doing anything. So learn how long you can work on a subject before it just becomes a waste of your time. And then also learn to push through, because there's a difference between wanting to be done and actually being able to keep going.
And that's a big one that we found with her, especially that there will be times when I can just tell that she wants to be done. And so so I need to kind of push her, but I also have had to help her learn when to just stop, set it aside, and come back to it so that she can be efficient with her time. And last one.
So be aware of deadlines, if you have deadlines for outsourced classes or just deadlines of when things have to be done, because it's important. You need to know when you're going to have to end so you can plan accordingly.
And she's found that she kind of works backwards. So whenever the deadline is for something, if she plans backwards,
that works better than starting from the beginning and working forwards.
She's done it both ways this year, and working backwards has done better for her. I forgot to mention, this video really is directed towards your teens. So either pause this and go get your teen and have them join you, or when you're done with this video, pass it on to your teen and have them watch as well. And I would say this is also really good for middle school students to watch, especially 8th graders who are starting to prepare for high school. So, there's that. Next one, outsourced classes. She has done a couple math classes before this year, outsourced. We do those online. You've probably heard me talk about them. And she's also done Spanish. But this year was our first year doing an academic co-op. So this year she had 4 classes total that were outsourced. 2 to our co-op, and then math and Spanish. So, what do they need to know about outsourcing? Max is joining us as well.
So, you want to know what your teachers want. For example, if you're taking a literature class outsourced, know the way they want your style of writing. So you can write accordingly the way they want it formatted, because every teacher is different in the way they like it. And also have an understanding of how they want you to do their work. Do they want just answers only on a test, or do they want work like you would in math, depending on your problems? Plan a reasonable and balanced amount of your homework over your period of time. Don't try to cram it all into 2 days if you have 5. Spread it out the best you can, and then take into account bigger projects and your other subjects.
So, for example, with her writing, we always tried to leave an extra buffer day in there for editing, because we would edit together. So, accounting for things like that will also is an important part of learning how to balance
your
work. Because there were a couple times that we did have editing papers going on Sunday nights as we drove to and from church. So
learn to balance it and do it when you have the chance.
Now, a few things that are just kind of a general ideas of things that are important to learn before high school. So
one of them would be learn to use a planner and learn how to use it effectively and how it works for you and how you need to see it written out to be able to follow it and how to spread out your work effectively.
Okay. She, this year, used a Plum Paper Planner Student Edition, and I'm going to do a separate video on this, but I really liked it because she could put in, we were able to customize it for her different subjects, and then each day of the week. It also has a monthly spread, so she was able to kind of look at the big picture as she was planning things. And I will talk more about that and how we could have used it better and how she did use it well in another video. So check for that later this summer.
Also learn to take notes and learn to take notes effectively and what you need to take notes on depending on the subject and depending on what you're going to use the notes for. And if you're only going to give a couple sentence summary of something, do not write a full page of notes or 2 pages. You only need the major details. Also, for math, learn to use a calculator well and know your different buttons that could save you time when trying to put it in there.
Yes, that makes sense. I started her with a calculator in 6th grade when she started pre-algebra. And so she's had a couple years of experience playing around with it, but it definitely speeds things up.
Yes.
So if you have a student who's going in high school and they haven't used a calculator much, this summer would be a great time to hand it over and let them play around and get familiar with it.
Learning how to type is a good skill for everyone to write a paper effectively for the teacher to read. Because a lot of teachers do not like it handwritten because they need to see it clearly. So, learn how to type fast and read it.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a student who, if you need it, you can use type to text, and I think I have a video where I talked about this. So your student can just speak into like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, and it will translate it, type it out for you. And so that's a great way if you have a student who is not a quick typer as they're learning how to type.
It would speed up the process. And then last thing we should really learn how to use Google Docs. It's good for sharing. That's how we would edit papers together. So I could share it to her computer and she can make edits, make notes on it, so then I could look at it and be able to do it on my computer. And
we also would do it sometimes at the beginning of the year. We'd have her looking at it on her computer, and then I would look at it on mine. So we could do it simultaneously as I was teaching her
how to edit and how to do it effectively and what I need to look for in paper.
But then later we would just use the add comment feature, and I would type in something and then she could go and edit later. But it was a huge help. I didn't anticipate
very much help.
I didn't anticipate needing to use it as much as we did, but it was fantastic. Highly recommend it. And then a few resources that she found helpful.
Of course, the planner.
And like I said, she used the Plum Paper, but there's all kinds of online planners, various print ones.
Just find one that works for you and what you need in a planner. Quizlet. a flashcard app. I used it for Spanish. My geometry teacher recommended it for math formulas and free from vocabulary. So you could also use it for literature or wherever you need to memorize things.
And what did we, like, it'll auto-fill in.
Yes.
And you can, if you have text, on, like in a PDF, you can copy it and put it into Quizlet, and it'll make all your cards
much quicker
for you. We didn't learn that until the spring. So that's a great time saver.
Yes, very much.
And you can also search and see if someone's already created flashcards.
Yes.
For whatever you need.
And then Khan Academy videos. Those are very helpful, especially when you're entering geometry, algebra, and you haven't done some of the things in math since you were little and you're just expanding on it now. I like to use them for reducing radicals. I had to go back and remember how to do that, and it's quick, easy videos to teach you how to do something if you need it simplified.
And last resource that she found helpful this year,
Spark Notes for Shakespeare. It gives you a modern translation so you can actually understand what they're talking about.
Spark Notes, Cliff Notes. As a parent, you probably know those from your own high school days. I did. But Spark Notes I found really helpful because they, like she said, there was a modern translation. So this was her first real exposure to Shakespeare. So it put it into more modern language, which really helped her to understand it. But we also used it for, last year we used it with Pride and Prejudice. And so, yeah, Spark Notes. And not to replace the reading that your student should do, unlike what I would use Cliff Notes for in high school. But it's a great resource when they're stuck on something. All online. You don't have to go to the bookstore and hope it's open when you need it, because you remember that tomorrow the book is due. So she's a much better high school student than I was. So yes, Spark Notes was a great resource. And what else would you say? Anything? Be prepared for it to be a big jump.
Yes, be a lot more prepared than I was.
And moms, I'll talk more about that in my video, but it's a big jump.
It is. More than what you would expect. More than what you think.
But she did a great job this year. She, after we got over that initial hurdle, she really flew through her year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be scary, but preparation.
That helps. Preparation always helps.
Okay? Okay, I'll see you over in the next video.